It all started on a stormy night, when a newborn's cry pierced through the thunder outside a quiet, small-town fire station. Wrapped in a worn blanket, barely a few hours old, she had been left there with no note, no name, just a faint whisper of life hoping someone would care. 20 years later, that same child stood in front of thousands of people, tears in her eyes and a trembling voice. What she said next silenced the world and changed her father's life forever. Back then, Henry Miller was just a lonely 40-year-old mechanic in Pineville. Widowed young, no children, no family, just a garage and a small rented apartment above it. He never imagined fatherhood was in the cards for him. But that night, when he saw the baby girl on the steps of the fire station, something deep in his chest cracked open. The fireman who found her was his customer and called Henry for no real reason, perhaps fate. "She's so small," Henry had whispered, holding her for the first time. And all alone. That's when he made the decision that would shape his entire future. He named her Hope. Hope Miller. The name felt right because that's what she brought to his life. Henry didn't know the first thing about raising a baby, but he learned. Diaper disasters, midnight feedings, panic over fevers, he faced them all, not with perfection, but with love. His hands, once used only for engines and oil, now held bottles and baby books. In the early years, money was tight. Henry sometimes skipped meals to make sure Hope had enough. He couldn't afford daycare, so he brought her to the garage, placing her in a playpen beside the oil-stained workbench. Customers would chuckle at the sight of the grumpy mechanic singing lullabies while changing a spark plug. As she grew, so did her curiosity. At 5, she was asking about her real parents. Henry never lied. "They made a hard choice," he said gently. "But the best choice they could have made was leaving you somewhere safe. I may not be your blood, Hope, but I'm your dad through every drop of my soul." Hope never asked again. School was tough. Kids could be cruel. She was the only biracial child in a mostly white town, and the rumors about her being adopted didn't help. Henry always told her to hold her head high. "The world will try to define you by what you came from. You define yourself by what you become." So she studied harder. Worked harder. She wanted to make her father proud. She watched him give up everything, his dating life, his vacations, even the expansion of his business, just to make sure she never missed a field trip, a piano recital, or a parent-teacher meeting. He never once complained. Not even when the arthritis in his hands made work painful, or when the bank threatened to repossess the shop. He'd just smile and say, "You're the best investment I ever made." By the time Hope turned 18, she had a full scholarship to Columbia University. She was terrified to leave Henry behind. But he hugged her with teary eyes and whispered, "Fly high, baby girl. I'll be right here when you land." College was a whole new world. Fast-paced, competitive, diverse. Hope felt like she was finally among people who saw her for who she was. She studied law, inspired by the idea of helping abandoned children find homes, of changing the system that once left her at a fire station. She worked part-time to send money back to her dad, though he never asked. She'd call him every Sunday, and he'd always say the same thing before hanging up, "You keep shining, Hope. I've got enough light right here just knowing you're out there." Then, 3 months before graduation, Henry collapsed while working on a car. The doctors called it heart failure. He survived, but barely. The bills stacked up. The garage closed down. He was moved to a modest assisted living home on the edge of town. Still, he smiled when Hope visited. "You've got the world ahead of you. Don't you worry about me." But she did. Every single day. After graduation, Hope did something no one expected. Instead of jumping into a high-paying job at a top firm, she returned to Pineville quietly. For 2 years, she worked behind the scenes, consulting, saving money, and planning. And then came the day. The mayor stood on the podium, the whole town gathered. News cameras rolled. Hope, now a poised young woman in a smart blue suit, stepped up to the microphone. Henry sat in a wheelchair in the front row, confused but smiling. "I'd like to dedicate this moment," she said, voice shaking, "to the man who gave me life, not through blood, but through sacrifice, love, and unwavering belief." A screen behind her lit up. Miller House, a safe haven for abandoned children. The old garage had been rebuilt. Modern. Warm. Bright. A home. A center. A place where no child would ever feel unwanted again. I used to ask who left me, Hope said. But today, I only care about who found me. My father gave up everything so I could have a future. Today, I give him something back, not just a home for him, but a legacy in his name. The crowd erupted. Henry cried openly. And for the first time in his life, he said just 2 words, thank you. Today, Miller House has rescued over 300 children. It's not just a shelter, it's a place of stories, of healing, of hope. And at the center of it all is the girl once left in the rain, and the man who chose to love her anyway. Because sometimes, the family that chooses you is the one that saves you. And sometimes, the baby you save saves you right back.